This edition of Talk About the Hill Country has been pre recorded and is being shared in two parts. It's also been edited to fit the time allotted. It's time now for Talk About the Hill Country. You meet the most interesting people while waiting in line at the post office. At least that's what happened for our own Jan Fritz, the owner of HC Broadcasting. While she was in line at the Fredericksburg post office, she ran into Art Acevedo. He's the former chief of police of Austin, Houston, and Miami. I think that just may be the start of a new series here on Talk About the Hill Country. You meet the most interesting people just doing normal things. Which brings us to today and our conversation with Mr. Acevedo. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate your being here and willing to answer questions for us.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on.
Well, for our listeners, I'm just going to go over a bit of your biography. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. You started out with the California Highway Patrol. You then moved to Austin to become the chief of police in 2007. In 2016, you were named the Houston chief of police. And when did you go to Miami?
I swore in on April 5th, 2021 in Miami. In Colorado, after Miami, Aurora, Colorado, where I went to spend about 14 months there as the interim police chief, helping them out, and enjoyed being there as well.
So you've been police chief of a number of huge cities and counties. And just out of curiosity, what brought you to that line in Fredericksburg that day?
Well, I grew up wanting to. I grew up dreaming about having an RV someday, and as an adult, I made that one of my goals is to be an RV person. And my family and I love RVing, and so we were actually RVing in Fredericksburg, which is something we love to do since we live fairly close in Austin, and we've been going there since 2007 to that great community and just love all the people there. And so we were actually enjoying ourselves or trying with, we had all that rain. Then when we started hearing about all the floods and all the tragedy, kind of it put a huge damper in our visit. But we love Fredericksburg.
This is a question that I didn't include in the questions that I sent to you, but have you ever listened to our Texas Rebel Radio? What kind
I
of
have.
music do you like?
Well, you know what? I actually have when I've been there in at Fredericksburg. I like all kinds of music. I mean, I like classical to rock to jazz to country, salsa for Spanish stuff. I mean, just a little bit of
Excellent.
everything. Mariachi music, you name it, I like it. I think it's music is really fuel for the soul.
So let's catch up with you a little bit. We talked a little bit about you're on your RVing,
Yeah.
just the basics. Where are you now in your career and your life, and what are you looking forward to?
Well, you know what? I'm actually consulting now in the private sector. I have my own uh, consulting firm, which is a small firm of just a couple of people. And so I get to actually work out of my RV when I feel like it, and which is kind of nice. But quite honestly, I just miss public service. So, I'm actually contemplating maybe in the near future getting back into public service,
Oh,
either as a
wow.
police chief or maybe even run for sheriff, so I can work directly for the people, answer to the people, cut out the middleman, and just be able to say, like I've always felt in my heart, that as a public servant, the public is the operative word there, and servant to the public together is what's in my heart, and I miss doing that. So I may still have one more stop in me. We'll see it. I think it's in God's hands. We'll see what happens.
So do you envision yourself at another large place, or are you seeing yourself being sheriff of a smaller community?
You know what? We live in Travis County. Got friends that want me to move back to Houston, which is a huge community that I love. But I don't like some of the things that's happened here in terms of public safety. There's been there's been a DA here who's really cares more about coddling very bad actors than to protecting the public.
And that is that Travis County or Houston?
And that's in Travis County.
Travis.
I think there's still a lot of work to be done in criminal justice in our state. We're not as safe as we could be, and I miss having the opportunity to have that voice and that influence. Because I think leaders have to come to work to put themselves at risk for the greater good, and so we'll see. But again, I'm just I'm hopeful that the good Lord has that, in His plans for me. But because He's the only one that opens and closes doors, as
Mm.
Scripture tells us. So we'll see what happens. But that's in my heart, and if not, I'll continue to consult, working primarily with public safety agencies. I may be going to Mexico City here in the next
Oh,
few weeks
wow. It's
to
beautiful
help
there.
them. Oh, I love that city. I think it's one of the most, it's very cosmopolitan, but they have just like every big city in the
Hmm.
free world, they've got some public safety issues, and maybe I'll be able to go there and help them out in my consultant role to come up with strategies to make it safer.
Part of your history is that you have is working as a police chief. You have to work within the political realm as well as within the other realm. Is there something that you're hoping that may be a little bit different being a sheriff than being a police chief, or do you think it's going to be the same kinds of things you have to do, but it's just a different slice of it that you get a chance to be a part of?
Well, what's interesting, is as a police chief, I've worked in a city manager form of government where the city manager is your direct boss, and he or she answers to the city council. I mean, that's the way it was in Austin and in Miami, and in Aurora. And I've also worked in a strong mayor form of government in Houston, where I worked for Sylvester Turner. But I've always been told by my buddies, my friends that are elected, including elected sheriffs and elected representatives in the legislature and city councils, that I have always acted like I was a elected sheriff because I really didn't ask for permission too often. I always felt that my job was and leaders need to come to work to do their jobs and not keep their jobs. And so I think that the difference will be that if I did this and I was successful, if I were to run for sheriff and I was successful, um, I would be working and answering to the people that I've always felt that I work for and answer. Like I said, the mayor may be my supervisor, the city manager may be my supervisor, but at the end of the day, we all work for the public.
Hmm.
And I think that what'll be great is I get to answer to the public and not have to worry about an official that is elected as either a mayor or a city manager that's more worried about the politics than the safety. I think that in law enforcement, we need to come to work every day with a focus on what it takes to keep people safe, the community safe. And I think I'll be free to do that as long as I'm doing the job that the public wants me to do.
When do you think you might narrow down where you think you might be going if this is something you're going to do? Do you think this is something that's in your future in the next year or two or next
Oh,
5 years? What do you think?
Oh, I think it'll be sometime next year that I'll make a
Next year
public,
you'll make the decision?
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, I'm
cool.
pretty much certain that
Acevedo clarified in a follow up conversation that he intends to run for the sheriff of Travis County.
private sector, you can make money, but I'd rather make a difference. Um, and like I said, when you leave this world, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I'm 60 years old, but I feel healthier than ever. I want to you can't take anything with you. And so my dad used to always tell us, tell the kids, you can't take things with you. So, live a life that's impactful. Live to make memories. Because all you're going to take with you as your life experiences and your memories. And so that's what I'm hoping to do by potentially getting back in the public sector.
In the last weeks, as you know, our law enforcement agencies have been not only taking care of us here in Gillespie County and Fredericksburg, but they've been helping out surrounding communities and also the law enforcement in the surrounding communities who are part of our listening area. They're all, going to Kerrville, Kerr County, and other counties that have been impacted by the flooding. And they're experiencing things that some of us will never understand. Can you help our listeners understand how law enforcement officers, people who are helping, might be coping with these monumental tasks? Probably seeing and experience things most of us are thankful we don't have to. I'm sure you've had your share of emergency situations like
Oh
this.
yeah, well, first my heart goes out to everyone in your listening area because the tragedy of the floods recently impacted so many families and such a wide swath of the path there of destruction left behind. But I can tell you that um, as first responders, the things that we've seen that these officers and these firefighters, these paramedics and search and rescue crews, all these folks, the things that you see, you take them, they stay with you. There's a reason that the life expectancy for first responders isn't the greatest in the world. It's significantly less than the general population. I think it's because with every tragedy that you witness, every baby you take out of the water, every person you've seen decapitated, burned to death, shot to death, stabbed to death, suicides, mass shooting scenes. I can speak for myself. I've been to all of those. Hurricane Harvey, where we were just, 6 days, we didn't let a single officer go home. We basically all stayed working, sleeping on the floor in our offices. It's tough for them, and so I know that you're in Texas, and there's a lot of people that are people of faith, and I do believe deeply in the power of prayer, and music is fuel for the soul, but I think prayer is one of the most powerful weapons we have to help heal our first responders and the families of the victims that have lost these precious loved ones. Um, what we can do for all of those folks is pray for them, that the good Lord can comfort them, help them hold on to the memories, the good memories, and for the first responders, helping them understand that they're not alone, that they have made a difference, and that their work is impactful and matters.
It sounds to me, sort of what you're saying is that we have to be careful of those who are working for us in these rescue situations and make sure that they have all the support they need, not just for now, but
Yeah,
going into the future for quite some time. It's something that's going to stick with them, and it's something that they're going to be dealing with the exact same things as everyone else, except even more so. So making sure they have the spiritual support, the mental health support that they need, and
yeah.
then the practical supports of making sure that their homes are back to being homes and their families are taken care of. Here ends part one of our interview with Art Acevedo, former police chief of Austin and Houston, Texas, Miami, Florida, and Aurora, Colorado. Listen in tomorrow for part two of our Talk About the Hill Country interview with Art Acevedo, because you never know who you're going to meet waiting in line at the post office. You've been listening to Talk About the Hill Country. Comes on every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. It's a public service of HC Broadcasting. If you'd like to be on Talk About the Hill Country, if you have something to share about your organization, nonprofit, or something that you find exciting going on, give us a call at 830-997-2197. Email us at knafnews@gmail.com. Stop by at 304 East San Antonio Street or mail us at P.O. Box 311 in Fredericksburg. We'll try to get you on the calendar. This has been Talk About the Hill Country.